Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. I'm glad you're here, and I hope you're really glad you joined us. So let's get started. My name is Rita Wolfson, and on my laptop anyway, I can see my credentials. I am the founder of Financial Social Work and the Center for Financial Social Work. I am an NASW Pioneer inductee and an author and a speaker. So we have 4 panelists, and we're also fortunate enough to have the executive director of NASW North Carolina, who is kind enough to offer us that free CE. So why don't you each say something about yourselves, and then we'll do a brief overview of financial social work and get going with our panel. Veronica, you're right there, so that's who I see. Go.
That sounds great. Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Veronica Hardy. I am so glad to be here today. I am both a social work and a counselor educator. I also serve on the board of copy editors for the International Journal of Social Work Values and Ethics. I am a columnist for the New Social Work magazine with a column titled, What About Social Justice? And also an author and a speaker, just like Rita. So I'm just looking forward to this conversation we're going to have today.
Welcome. Who's going next? Paul?
Okay, I can go. Hi everyone, my name is Paul Wiersbicki. I'm a clinical social worker and I'm joining us today from Detroit, Michigan. It's a little bit rainy here. My primary role right now in social work is that I'm a clinical social worker. I'm a therapist. I'm at a telehealth practice, but I'm also a financial social worker and I have credentials as a global career development facilitator. So I kind of try and play the field a little bit.
I guess I could mention also that each of you are kind enough and generous enough and financially literate enough to do webinars for our audiences, and you all have some coming up. So I hope that our audience will join us when it's your turn to present. Okay, Tiana, go ahead.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I am Tiana Ingram. I'm actually calling in from Los Angeles, originally from New York, though, always have to mention that. I am an associate clinical social worker, a certified financial social worker, and a financial education instructor. Really, my mission is just to disrupt the cycle of money trauma, utilizing financial social work, the financial social work model, and a mind, body, soul approach to delivering financial wellness services. I have founded my own social enterprise called the 10 Coins, in which I empower helping professionals and the communities that they serve to heal their money wounds and achieve financial peace of mind. I am also the co-founder of the new Financial Social Work Collaborative, which is a space for certified financial social work graduates and students to connect, network, get support and resources. And I am just so excited to be here today and be invited. And yeah, looking forward to hearing and learning from everyone.
Dr. Matt.
Hi, everyone. It's so good to be here with everyone and to see all my friends. I'm Dr. Matt. I'm a certified financial social worker at my doctorate in social work, my DSW, a licensed clinical social worker, and part-time faculty at the University of Buffalo School of Social Work. I'm transitioning from private practice into group practice, where primarily I'll be doing financial social work. But I'm just really happy to be here. So thanks, everyone.
Matt and I are co-authors for a financial social work textbook that we hope will come out in 2025. And with us now, one of my favorites is the director of NASW North Carolina. You want to talk about yourself and Valerie?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Rita. I'm Valerie Arndt. I'm the executive director of the National Association of Social Workers North Carolina chapter. I've been with the association for 13 years. I've been the executive director for 6. And all of those years, I have truly enjoyed building a relationship with Rita as a member of NASW and, of course, really enjoying to engage in the work that financial social work does through Rita's leadership. So I'll say a little bit more about Rita in a few minutes, but that's a little bit about me. So I am excited and to hear from the panel.
Okay, so let's go off camera now, if we can all figure out how to do that. And I just want to share with you a few things. Okay, so I'm the only one not off camera. Okay, stop sharing. Okay, so I want to tell you just very briefly about financial social work and why we're doing this panel and why we're all here today. You already met our panel, and there's just some wonderful people doing wonderful work. And I think you can learn a lot from them. So I'm excited to have you with us. This is Financial Literacy Month, and we do have kind of a surprise to celebrate Financial Literacy Month. So I hope you'll stay with us to the very end when we'll share that news with you. So just a very quick overview so you know why we do what we do. Financial social work is a behavioral model addressing the financial thoughts, feelings, attitudes, beliefs, values, and experiences that drive financial behavior. And that's really important because until and unless behavior changes, nothing changes. Financial behavior is about how one earns, spends, saves, shares, and borrows. We all know that money is complicated and life is complicated. There's no one or easy solution or fix for either. What we do with financial social work, we endeavor to reduce the too often overwhelming feelings of stress, anxiety, shame, trauma that complicate money, life, and mental health. Financial social work is about healing your relationship with your money and yourself, growing more successfully personally, financially, and professionally, taking control of your money to gain control of your life, making peace with your money and yourself, understanding there is always hope, setting personal and financial boundaries, reducing financial stress, problems, anxiety, and trauma. Creating this is so important. We need to create safe, non-judgmental spaces for clients to learn, process, and talk about money. It is a behavioral change model that is heart-centered. We approach money and life from a perspective of healing, acceptance, courage, wellness, transparency, and honesty. Financial social work is at the intersection of the profession of social work, politics, the economy, gender, racial, social, economic, climate, and other abled justice, mental health, and financial inequity. It is all of these things and more. And at the core, it is about healing the relationship we each have with our money and healing the relationship we each have with ourselves. Financial social work goes across communities, across organizations. It starts with the individual, moves to the family, the social environment, the workplace, and the community. We have thousands of graduates across the country and around the world. Very exciting. So one simple truth before we get started with the panel is that no one chooses to have money problems. But unfortunately, most people do. That's why so many Americans need financial social work. Helping clients improve their financial health is a social work imperative. Financial social work, stop and think about it. It is a structural component of our profession. It offers comprehensive and ethical client services. As agents of change, we have a responsibility to modernize social work to better serve the financial requirements of today's social workers and of social work clients. People need a trustworthy, reliable professional with whom to process all things monetary. They need a safe, non-judgmental space where they may talk and learn about money. And everyone needs someone and somewhere to share their money secrets and questions, those secrets and questions that they've been hiding from or avoiding all their lives. They do need someone who practices financial social work, which is inclusive and available to everyone who wants to improve their financial lives. Now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Valerie Arndt, who is the Executive Director of the National Association of Social Workers in North Carolina. Take it away, Val.
Thank you so much, Rita. As Rita said, I'm the Executive Director of the North Carolina chapter of NASW. And as always, I would like to thank longtime NASW member Rita Wolfson for her constant support of NASW, and shout out to Rita again, as she mentioned, who was named as an NASW Social Work Pioneer in 2022 for being the founder and pioneer of financial social work. So we are honored to continue to support Rita and financial social work in educating thousands of behavioral health professionals. So as Rita mentioned, April is Financial Literacy Month, and those in financial health and wellness field focus on the connection between money and mental health and are committed to using a behavioral model to support client change. Those struggling with financial problems, stress, trauma, and shame need better coping skills and financial tools. And that's where you come in, someone who understands the nuances of their particular financial dilemma to assist them in overcoming their obstacles and issues with money. And I'm excited to hear from our certified financial social work panel today to learn about the experiences of working with multiple client populations on how to improve their relationship with their money and themselves and to develop financial confidence. So thank you again so much, Rita and Financial Social Work, for hosting this important topic and allowing us to support everyone by approving your contact hours for CE today. Again, thank you so much, Rita.
Thank you always, Valerie, always. Okay, so if we can get our panel back on camera, we will begin this conversation. And I will try to figure out why I can't see anybody. I'm going to guess the people are on camera. Olga?
They are.
Okay. There we go. Perfect. Okay, deep sigh of relief for me. Okay, let's get started, my wonderful panel. So, how is financial social work relevant to the clients you work with, the work you do, and the social work profession? Who wants to go first?
I think I'll go ahead and get started, Rita. Currently, I'm a university professor, so I would say the population that I'm working with now are my students. So as we know, many students experience debt, working to try to balance pursuing higher education with their personal lives and personal finances. So one way that I really work to integrate financial social work was when I conducted my first financial wellness workshop for social work students. And as we navigated that workshop, they were able to start exploring their own money stories that they received from previous generations. For example, what money meant to them, why money was important, certain trauma-related issues such as lack of money or survival-related issues, experiences of homelessness. So students were definitely able to gain an understanding of how do I interpret money? what is my relationship with money, and how can I change some of those patterns and themes currently in regards to money. Now in teaching, I really integrate this topic into my modules. So students will not only be able to learn it for themselves, but to be able to transfer it to the clients or the people who they provide services to, as well as promoting social justice. So I encourage my students to integrate it into the assessment. As we know, the biopsychosocial, spiritual, etc. assessment. But finances is one of those major reasons why people we provide services to may be experiencing challenges in their lives or different experiences of trauma. So that's definitely something that we should work towards assessing for. And those are just a few ways that I currently tend to integrate financial social work.
Okay, I know we're going to do this later and I'm going to share a slide, but go ahead, Veronica. Tell people about your book. I'm excited about it.
I'll do it. So yesterday, our book called Impact Your Income. It's a book about financial wellness and empowerment, published. So the intention was to have it available in time for today, certainly for all of our guests to have access to. And as well, April represents National Financial Literacy Month. And I'm very excited to announce that the person who wrote the foreword of Impact Your Income is Rita Wolfson. So definitely thank you, Rita. And who else but Rita to be a perfect fit to write the foreword for that book. And currently it is available on Amazon, or please feel welcome to visit my website at veronicahardy.com. Thank you so much for that, Rita.
I was honored to write it. And Veronica, what is that subtitle under the title of the book?
It's the subtitle is Tips for Financial Wellness and Empowerment.
So somewhere it says, though, that it starts with the mind.
Yes, so that's within the opening of the book,
Okay.
the introduction. Financial wellness starts in the mind, the way we think, the way we feel, the way we act. Again, the way that we express our behaviors about money. And to understand that, we need to understand ourselves. We need to understand the transgenerational knowledge in regards to money, and then work to uncover, are there any patterns that I want to change? Patterns that no longer serve me in my life or in my financial life. And then what are some of those steps that I can begin to take to create new patterns in my life that will enhance my financial health? So you are correct. I often write that finance starts in our mind, that understanding of finances.
I would imagine it's pretty clear why Veronica and I get along so well. We both share similar beliefs. Okay, who's ready next to talk about how you use financial social work with your clients and your professional life? Go ahead, Dr. Matt.
So I work across the micro, meso, and macro sphere, and so with my individual clients in therapy, it really is about treating their financial behavioral health as a component of treating their mental health or their substance use disorder. So when we see our clients, for instance, maybe getting disability and all of a sudden having a large amount of funds deposited in their account, how do we work to make sure that that's not a trigger for a substance use reoccurrence, or what we used to refer to as a relapse? With my mental health clients, sometimes it's about financial safety planning. What do you do with your money if when you're feeling manic, maybe you don't make the best financial choices? And of course, just financial social work in general, right? It's connected to anxiety, depression, suicidality, and so part of what I do is really work with my clients, not only to meet them where they are, but to let them see what really is possible in the future. And as an educator, both at the University of Buffalo and also as a trainer, I just finished working with a county CPS division to train their workers in why do folks make financial decisions that they do? And so we really work through over a period of 2 days why clients might make certain decisions that may not quote unquote make sense to the caseworker, but make complete sense in the financial social work model for chronic financial stress syndrome, and to really empower those workers, to empower their clients to all come together and work towards the same goal of, completing their CPS cases in a very positive, healthy way that respects the family. And of course, for my students, it's really pushing them to go into policy. Not that I'm biased or anything, but I'm very biased. And so part of that, right, is also the work that you and I are doing on our textbook right now, which is looking at financial social work across all the spheres that social work impacts.
Thanks, Matt. Next.
I'll go. Yeah, I have been working with nonprofit organizations that serve underserved populations for over 10 years. Really specifically, individuals and families that have been impacted by the foster care system here in Los Angeles, and then also domestic violence survivors. And I noticed, right, that many of these orgs have a mission that is to remove these barriers for these individuals and help them to achieve their goals. And while many of the organizations, right, incorporate some type of financial literacy component, which is important, right, to teach the basic technical skills and knowledge, I notice with the population that I'm serving, which are, again, underserved populations, and really individuals that have been impacted by significant money trauma, that something deeper was needed really to address that and to really see that lasting financial change. And so with financial social work, right, that goes beyond the dollars and cents and really focuses on healing that relationship with yourself. I love what Dr. Veronica and Rita were talking about with really starting in the mind, and that's really why I find it relevant to work with that population. I'm grateful to use financial social work and integrate it on a macro, meso, and micro level. On a macro level, through my organization, the 10 Coins, I partner with nonprofit organizations to develop and oversee financial wellness programming. I provide training and consulting with their staff on just how to integrate financial social work best practices into their case management processes. On that meso level, I develop and facilitate financial wellness circles, which I love. I will be doing a webinar in July talking more about financial wellness circles. But really, I create a safe community space for clients to unpack that money story, reframe their limiting beliefs, and empower them to reauthor their money story by taking the steps to create the lives that they desire. And then on a micro level, I work one-on-one with transitional age foster youth through an employment, education, and housing program. I provide mentorship, coaching, and clinical case management to these youth, and just really equip them with the tools and resources that they need to make a successful transition to adulthood. Through all of these things, I am grateful to be able to use like financial social work worksheets and just all of the practices and integrate that in my day-to-day work with the work that I'm doing on each level.
Thanks so much, Tiona. And a little later, you'll talk about the amazing FSW collaborative and
Yes.
some of you and our other graduates created. Paul, you're next.
These are some tough folks to follow. Hi, my name is Paul again. So in my work, I work primarily with the queer community, and I've observed a prevalent intersection of trauma and poverty with this population. And this intersection is not incidental, but indicative of systems that disproportionately affect marginalized people. Financial social work becomes a critical tool in my arsenal, really allowing me to address these issues in a comprehensive fashion. Through financial social work, I can guide clients through some of the cognitive hurdles, but as you heard Rita said earlier, it really instills those behavioral skills, whether it be crafting or maintaining a personalized spending and savings plan, or encouraging that advocacy to construct systems that better foster financial success. But For me, the relevance of financial social work extends beyond just individual casework or therapy. Um, I think that it finds a place across the spectrum of social work, from case management, as you've heard, to macro level advocacy. And I think that financial social work enables us as professionals to approach financial discussions without stigma. As you've heard, fostering an environment where clients feel understood and supported. It's about creating the community where financial wellness is accessible to everyone, and breaking down those barriers and building those bridges towards financial financial literacy and independence and wellness as a whole.
What a talented group of people. Um, if our audience has questions, you can be putting them into the Q&A box, and we are trying to save extra time at the end of this training to take more of your questions. So many of you did already share an example of how you use this in your own work. What about some suggestions for our audience about what they're experiencing with what they may be experiencing with their clients who are struggling with financial problems and stress and anxiety, but they don't have the skills and the tools? Do you have some suggestions you might want to put out there that people can use after this training?
I'll say just one of my initial suggestions, and one of the first ways I even learned about the Center for Financial Social Work, were these webinars. There is an abundance of webinars that have been available for years, and I just did not know. And once I found out, I started integrating those into my courses and sharing those with my students. So I would definitely say one of the first steps is to access several of the resources that are made available through the Center for Financial Social Work. If you do visit the webinars, there are multiple titles ranging from financial trauma to even how to understand your credit score and a credit report. Certainly all of that is relevant to our financial knowledge and financial literacy, and then being able to take some of that information and assess, how can I integrate this into my professional practice? Can I integrate it into the assessments? Can I integrate it, like Dr. Matt said, with financial safety plans, putting those in place in response to various diagnoses and behaviors? And just like Paul and Tiana shared, being able to apply it across practice levels, from micro to macro and even beyond. So those are some of the initial tips that I would like to share with our audience.
And
Great, thank you.
Veronica, that's excellent. And I really love the idea of encouraging folks, right, to really look at the webinars, because really the advice or tool that I would give is we have to become comfortable ourselves in discussing our finances.
Wow.
And really learn how our own money works. And part of the financial social work certification, and even our additional FSW code of ethics, is we have to practice financial social work on ourselves. We have to go through the model. We have to live the model. And very often folks finish schools of social work, but very competent in social work, but not feeling confident in talking about money. And the reality is, and I think I saw something in the chat, is that money plays an outsized part of almost all of our clients' struggles, whether it's receiving services, referrals, paying for copays, rent, childcare, paying for medications, housing. And so we very often, if we're not trained in it, we sort of skirt around the issue. We're okay talking with our clients about their trauma, but yet somehow talking about money is still taboo. And really learning how to break that taboo and breaking that stigma starts with us, becoming comfortable ourselves discussing money. And once we start feeling comfortable discussing money, it makes it a lot easier to bring it into the conversation. So we don't have to be experts. And I think that that's so important. It's okay to not know, no one can know everything about everything. And so to say to a client, you know what, I don't know, but let's look it up together, or let's find out, or let's look for that resource. As long as we're talking about it, what we're doing is, one, reducing the stigma. And when we share that we don't know, we're also sharing, hey, it's okay to not know something. And then we're embodying and modeling the next step of looking it up and finding that resource, which helps our clients learn how to do that.
I'm sitting here nodding my head, yes, yes, yes. And of course, I can do that because I'm not on camera. Thank you both. Go ahead, Tyon. I know you wanted to.
No, I love it, and to not just like be the words, like they are saying it all. Number one, right, what I'm really big in is creating that safe space, right? Money is a hard topic to talk about. And it's so important not to other the clients that you're working with. And a part of that, of you not doing that, is like what Dr. Matt is saying, is to start looking within and looking at your own relationship with money, your own money trauma, things that you've experienced and how money has impacted your life and your decisions. So that way, when you are interacting with your clients, you're able to really create that space, see them as, right, the expert of their own life, right? Like Dr. Matt said, we don't have to be the expert. We shouldn't be the expert of their life, right? So like asking them the questions about really what their financial challenges are, and creating that space where they feel open to speak about it, where we're not increasing their shame and guilt about it, and that way we can instill just that hope. And it's easier to instill that hope when we've also been through it ourselves. Part of the reason why I focus my work on supporting helping professionals is because I was that helping professional where I was constantly trying to support the people I served with their goals, and I didn't know about budgeting. I had my own money trauma. I was trying to figure it out myself, and so I didn't have the confidence to really help them in the best way possible. And so really just looking at yourself first, right? And making sure that you are building that confidence with yourself so that way you can provide the best services. And then in addition to that, right, in addition to the webinars and all of that, I am going to definitely plug the Financial Social Work Collaborative. The main reason why I have been able to grow as a financial social worker is because of people like this on this panel, connecting with Rita, other certified financial social workers, and just sharing what I'm working on, hearing what other people are working on, and getting some support with that. And so the Financial Social Work Collaborative is open to graduates and those who are working on the certification, and just a space to network, connect, get support, get resources, get education, just so you don't feel alone and you can get some tips and tools in order to really integrate this work yourself.
Thank you. That collaborative is a favorite. And we'll talk about that again before the end. Paul.
Yeah, so I think that everyone's really said it. Do the work, I think, is what I would say. I think that so much of the time when we're uncomfortable, we can turn to the easy option, and the easy option usually stigmatizes people. And it's really unfortunate because these are the people that really need the help the most. I think that when I first went through the financial social work program, it was really eye-opening because it wasn't just about dollars and cents like I thought it was. It's this whole model. So like whether it's networking with like colleagues, doing your own independent research, maybe even doing a webinar or two. It's really do the work so that way you can show up and show out for the people that really need it.
I'm so partial to this group of people. Thank you all so much. So before we go to Q&A, and I'm going to assume that we have questions, do any of you have anything else that you would just like to share that I didn't ask you about?
Before I forget, in June, I will be giving a webinar about building financial resilience in the LGBT community. So if that's something that interests you, I'll see you the month after next.
Good one. Tiana, you want to do yours pitch?
Yes, please join us in July for the webinar that I am about integrating financial wellness circles. I'll be sharing my whole method and how I've been able to integrate that specifically with underserved populations. And also, I guess the other thing that I didn't mention too is I've been able to, using financial social work principles and then my own healing, right? I mentioned that I use like my mind, body, soul approach in the work that I do. So I incorporate a lot of like affirmation music, meditation, prayer, faith, journaling into the work that I'm doing. And that's how I integrate the financial wellness circles also. So if you're interested in that and how to like really create that holistic approach, please join.
Okay, that's June.
That's
Veronica will
July.
be doing, July. Right, Paul is June, you're July. Veronica is September. We didn't decide on the title, but Dr. Hardy has done several amazing, really wonderful webinars. So have you decided yet what you'll be teaching us in September?
So like Rita mentioned, it'll be coming up in September, and I'm between two ideas. One is focusing on our money genogram or our financial genogram to get more into that transgenerational knowledge that people have gained in regards to finances or even transgenerational trauma. But as Rita mentioned, I do have previous webinars, and they were a part 1 and a part 2. And they actually focused on race-based trauma and financial literacy. So I'm also considering building upon that as well.
Oh, I love both of them. Well, we'll just have to have you back again. Dr. Matt, you'll be on in the fall, but can you mention you've done amazing webinars for us also?
Thank you. I know I've done webinars on student loans and how all of that works.
Amazing.
I know I've done other webinars that I'm having a little bit of a brain fog at the moment, and I'm thinking for the fall, I'll probably do the webinar on financial safety planning.
Cool. Okay, great. All of those recordings from those webinars are on the Financial Social Work website under recordings or under resources. And then you can go down to the recordings. So our relationship director is with us. Linda, are there? Oh, no. Let's go off camera so I can just finish the slides. And then we'll come back on and do, okay. I just want to finish these slides. So before Q&A, a few things I'd like you to remember about money is that no one chooses to have money problems, but most people do. Some things to consider is that no one can or needs to know everything about money, but everyone does need to know certain things about money. So what I need to know, or our speakers need to know, or any of you in the audience need to know, that's going to be different than what everybody else needs to know, but just as important. Financial illiteracy costs most Americans in the vicinity of $2,000 a year. We need to stop raising financially illiterate people and start teaching children more about managing their money and managing their lives because they are connected. We have to stay very aware of the connection between money and mental health. It is so real. And there exists too strong a relationship between finances and suicide. That shouldn't and doesn't have to be a death sentence. I've already talked a little about healing the relationships we each have with our money and with ourselves. That relationship with self takes time, honesty, less self-criticism, and more self-love. And that relationship with money begins with that thoughts, feelings, attitudes, and values we all have with our money. And when we talk about money, remember we're talking about safety and security, survival, and most of all, power, because those who have the money have the power. I did want to mention that last month we started a petition, and we were looking for 750 signatures in order to schedule a meeting to discuss how we can work together to modernize our social work profession to meet the financial needs of today's social workers and clients. So that is the link to the petition. If we get to 750 signatures, we will schedule that meeting. We really collectively need to work together for wage parity and greater recognition of our profession. Now, I'll mention it again, and you can snap this if you'd like. Veronica Dr. Hardy's book, you can find it on Amazon, and I think it's really very worth reading. So be sure if you read it to write her a review. Dr. Matt shared his link if you'd like to reach out to him at drmattdsw.com. And Tiana has shared this. And Tiana, why don't you take a minute or so to talk about the collaborative and your own work?
No, sure, yes. There on the top left will be how you can reach out to me individually through my website, email, or my socials. If you want to connect, I'm happy to connect. But I really, really want to share about the Financial Social Work Collaborative that I am a co-founder with amazing certified financial social workers. You'll see them on the bottom right-hand side. And yeah, we found that there was a need for financial social work graduates and students to just connect and be in community, again, to just really help us to integrate this work and to really advocate for and put financial social work out there. So we are looking, the membership is free. We have about 4 events each month. The upcoming events you'll see, usually they're just available for financial work students and graduates, but on April 18th next week, we have an open house for anyone who is interested to just join on Zoom. And then on April 23rd, we have a discussion topic on money scams that we've been talking about for Financial Literacy Month. But here's all of the information. Please follow us on socials or just reach out to any of us individually if you're interested in joining, or just go to our website and click the register now. But we hope that you all will join us.
It's an amazing group. Okay, so for Financial Literacy Month, we are having a promotion on the certification, which is self-study and self-paced. Our students have 6 months to complete it, and it includes all the materials, the final exam, and an attractive certificate for framing. There is a 3-year renewal. This promotion, for those of you who are here today, you get a discount of $275. That's through midnight Sunday. And then it will be a $250 discount through April 23rd. And you can see the rest. So those are the coupon codes. And I'm pretty sure Olga will have the discount code for the $275 off in the Q&A box. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get everybody back on camera. And Linda, do we have questions?
We have questions flooding in, and I do encourage all of our participants totally reach out to these fine folks. They are really interested in connecting with you. This panel is a generous group. I do encourage you, we won't get to all of these wonderful questions, so do reach out to these folks individually. I'll just pick a few. Here's one. When social workers discuss financial matters with their clients, I think it's natural that the client may ask for information about finances. How would you explain to social workers the ethical and legal boundaries of education versus advice?
I think that's an excellent question. So one, we all have to know our state laws and our local laws and our scope of practice and our licensure scope. I have an MBA, I have my MSW, DSW, I'm a certified financial social worker. I'm not going to give out investment advice. That is far outside the scope of my knowledge and training. What I will do is provide knowledge that fits within the code of ethics for financial social workers and with my training as a financial social worker. And I really don't give out a whole lot of advice. I give out a lot of psychoeducation, and I ask a lot of questions to help my clients come to their own understanding. And so if my clients have questions that I don't have an answer to or they're seeking advice, I'll probably refer them to an investment professional that I work for or to a banking professional that I might work with. So I don't work for an investment professional that I work with. And so I think that part of that is really just building your own local network of experts while also understanding what your specific knowledge base is.
And just to add to what Matt said, which was excellent, perfect, that it is important when it comes to that investment guidance to locate a licensed expert, right? Someone who's licensed in their particular field to be able to guide you in that, and they have the particular training in that. So if we are talking about the topic of investing and where to put your money, stocks, bonds, etc., you really do want someone who has knowledge in relation to that. And something I always highlight is to be aware of scams, right? For example, people may identify themselves as licensed financial experts, but they're not actually. So when it comes to finances, this is another important topic to address. Quite a bit of financial trauma does come from scams, loss of money, etc. How it has impacted someone's life, impacted their family's life. So that is just one more consideration to take into mind.
Anybody
Yeah.
else?
Thank you. Anybody else?
Let
I
me
would just say,
let me,
sorry.
oh, go ahead, Paul. Go ahead, Paul.
Oh, yeah, I would just say that, working on people's boundaries, because everyone is looking for, like, if I could just get more money, get more power, working on your boundaries to say no, right? Making sure it's okay that you say, hey, let me get some time to think of it, because so many times we see for scams that people, it's the pressure, but understanding and setting that boundary and having the wherewithal and the educated consumer or professional to be able to work with that.
Good
Okay.
point.
Another question. Have any of our panelists have any connection to employee assistance programs? If so, what might you share about the connection between financial social work, how it ties into the work of assisting employees at the organizational level? Any thoughts about that?
So I receive referrals from an EAP very often when their employees have exhausted their EAP benefits, but still have financial difficulties. And at an organizational level, I've worked with organizations to help their employees understand their finances, because very often in helping professions, we're not paid enough. And in fact, that's why Rita started this movement to really modernize our profession. Within EAP and within sort of a workplace organizational culture, very often it's first breaking through the taboo of, yes, you should be discussing how much your take-home pay is and why you're receiving it and working towards advocating for better pay. Within EAP individuals, it's very often dealing with the same financial behaviors that we see in therapy. Is it anxiety? Is it bill avoidance? Is it depression? And working with them to help change their financial behaviors that are actually symptoms of those conditions.
Matt, you just reminded me of one of the webinars you did last year. It was on billing for financial social work. Remember? And that was
Yes.
and both at least those two webinars are on our website. And that is a question that comes up very frequently. So I'm glad you mentioned what you did and it reminded me. Does anybody else want to address that? Money
Yeah,
is, go ahead.
yes, I've on an organizational level provided employee financial wellness circles and developed employee financial wellness programs for different organizations. Again, like we were saying, right, like it's really important for employees to be able to build that confidence and to understand what their relationship is with money, especially if they're helping clients and their own personal families, right, with their money issues. And so I specifically will work with that organization to see what the need is, what they're really wanting. Remembering again my scope, right, where I'm not providing any financial advisement or investment information, but helping them to really understand that link between money and mental health, how to just really improve and heal that relationship with themselves and their money. So that way we can create lasting financial change together and it can kind of trickle into the clients that they serve.
It costs businesses a tremendous amount of money when their clients are struggling with financial problems and stress and trauma. You have absenteeism, presenteeism, hours spent on the phone trying to talk with people that are trying to collect money from you. The money and mental health can only improve employees' well-being and a business's bottom line. Anybody else?
I just wanted to add on to that. It also, workplace accidents and workplace incidents, physical accidents increase because we look at the loss of sleep, the distractibility that comes along with financial stress and chronic financial stress syndrome. And so companies taking an active role in their employees' financial wellness can only improve their bottom line.
Thank you.
Ready for the next one? Please discuss how financial social work can support survivors of environmental trauma, natural disasters, and/or the intersection of suicide rate and financial trauma.
I'll just say a few words around that, especially in regards to what I could tend to call it are these global traumas and experiences, because there are many people who are currently in this moment experiencing war, significant loss, devastating loss, and like it was mentioned through the question as well. So one, how do we go about finding ways to support? Definitely tapping into our social work knowledge in regards to that, tapping into I would say the trigger or the source of the loss first, the source that may have triggered the trauma. But then this comes back to some of our case management skills and our social justice advocacy skills as well. Noticing what resources may be available in the community for the particular populations who you may be providing services to. And certainly if those resources do not exist to the extent that may be necessary, then creating, advocating, pursuing grant funding. As social workers, I often refer to us as impact professionals. We have an imagination beyond belief where we can turn that imagination into creation. We can build that through grant writing, through connecting with specific people within our community. So tapping into some of our core social work skills to help build some of those resources.
Yes, I just like to add too that when you were bringing up that social justice piece, right? Money is a part of every social justice issue when you're talking about all of these environmental traumas or anything like that. And so it's really important. But how financial social work helps with that is it helps us give us the language, number one, to really identify and share how the connection of money and someone's self and their identity and them achieving their goals, how that can contribute to society, how that can just heal them. And so when we are sitting there and advocating, whether that is through grant writing or even going up to the policy level, the lawmakers, and sharing how, increasing funds for a certain resource can benefit, an entire population, it really helps us to, again, give us that language, give us that awareness, help others to understand that there is a behavioral link, right? Like how we think and feel about money directly impacts our financial behaviors. And so if we have that knowledge, right, then we're able to not only share that with our clients to empower them and provide them with that psychoeducation so they can feel in control over their situation, right? A lot of times when we've been through a traumatic situation, we believe that everything is out of our hands and that we have no control because frankly, right, we may have not had control over the situation before, but with financial social work, we're there to help, to just empower, really increase that mindset, again, reframe those limiting beliefs, instill that hope, that faith in them. So that's on that micro level. But then again, using those social work skills to advocate for better practices, whether it's within an organization that you're serving or all the way up to lawmakers in your state.
I just wanted to mention, because I haven't done that yet, and people are going to wonder, about an hour from now, you all attendees will get an email with a link to download your CE certificate. Because I know everybody wants their CE, and I don't blame you. So you can watch for that. Okay, Linda, another question?
Yes. How do you use financial social work in couples counseling and family counseling?
Oh, man.
So I would say at least 50% of the financial social work therapy that I do is with couples and by extension, their children and families, though I don't work with their kids. When I'm working with their parents makes a difference. So very often I have couples come in and either one or both has financial trauma and has had some form of financial event that's led them to seek out a financial social worker. And really the way that I work with it is first on developing their communication skills around finances. Because very often there's a lot of shame, a lot of stigma, whether it's someone has misused finances in the relationship and lied about it, or didn't feel comfortable enough talking about it, or they're facing bankruptcy. And so part of it is really working on healing that relationship that has been centered around mistrust or distrust based on financial behaviors and financial decisions. Think gambling debts or money lost and spent on substances. And then it's really working with them using the financial social work model to first stabilize where they are, reduce their debt, start changing their negative cash flow into a net even cash flow to a positive cash flow, and really working with them to change their financial behaviors. And part of that is also just normalizing that, hey, everyone struggles, but you two were brave enough to ask for help. And in doing so, we can start addressing the underlying issues that led up to why they needed to ask for help. And so really the financial social work model works in a couples therapy model, it works in individual, but it also works with roommates or with folks who are pooling their money or families that are chosen by nature. And we all approach money differently based on what we learned as children and growing up and our life experiences. And our life experiences very rarely are going to mimic our partners. And so it's very often teaching a new language to both people so that they can learn to communicate with one another about their financial needs.
And I'll just tag in, if anyone who may be joining us or watching the playback of this recording, if you are a field supervisor, if you are an educator, if you can take what Dr. Matt just said and flip it into the educational side, training up your students, your field supervisees to be able to implement those techniques with couples and families as well. So really working to train up our future social workers with this knowledge.
Thanks, Veronica. One last question, Linda.
One last question. I work in healthcare and would love to hear how this certification could impact a social worker working in oncology.
Financial toxicity comes out of the cancer arena, and it's a real serious problem because I believe it's the majority of um, cancer patients end up in bankruptcy because of the costs. Who else wants to talk to that?
I think so. I have a pretty beefy history of doing medical case management for people living with HIV, and one of the game changers that we frequently saw, not only just like accessing medical care, but was understanding insurance benefits. And even today, in when I'm in session with people, like they look at me like blank eye, like I don't know what to do, and there's this avoidance, like just do whatever you have to, and that's not helpful because in many of our practices, if the insurance doesn't cover it, you're responsible for it, and it really shouldn't take another 4-year degree to learn to understand your benefits. So in that way, working and expanding our skill set to be able to make this information accessible to everyone, it's never an easy or a fun time having or working through a cancer diagnosis, but being empowered to know what your options are and make the best possible decision is, I think, part of that.
Perfect, Paul.
I would also like to add before we end, there are amazing thank yous and amazing kudos to the panelists. People are delighted with the information that you've shared today and the manner in which you've shared it. So on behalf of myself and everybody who posed a question, I know we didn't get to them all. Please, again, reach out to our panelists. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for attending. Veronica, Matt, Paul, Tiana, you all know how appreciative I am. With gratitude. I'm doing the same thing, Matt, but I'm not on screen. Okay, thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Bye
Bye,
now.
all.